Hi guys, Asian movie recaps here. Today, we'll be recapping another fantastic film. In the meantime, please like and subscribe to our channel so that we may continue to provide movie recaps with plot twists and intriguing storylines. It may only take a few seconds for you, but it allows us to upload daily videos as soon as possible. Let's get started. The cockpit windshield of a commercial flight headed to Lhasa early in the morning shatters at the altitude of 30,000 feet. As the pilot struggles to control the aircraft, the crew must keep the passengers safe. A pilot, Captain Liu, wakes up by 3 a.m. He takes his bath and gets dressed. He enters a room and kisses his sleeping child and promises to be present for her birthday party that night. At the airport, preparations are being made for a flight to Lhasa, Tibet. The crew board the plane and carry out the emergency equipment check and find everything normal. The passengers begin to board the plane. A passenger, Mr. Wu, who is on a call, is politely asked to turn off his phone or put it on airplane mode as the plane is about to take off. He rudely answers the air hostess telling her to turn it off herself and throwing the phone at her. The in-flight manager, Nan, comes around and handles the situation. The plane takes off and everything is normal. They experience some turbulence and the passengers are asked to fasten their seat belts. The pilots request to climb to a higher altitude and they are permitted. Captain Liu tells his co-captain Liang and another pilot that his daughter turned 6 that day and he promised to be around for her party. An air hostess enters the cockpit to ask if they would like tea or coffee. Mr. Wu makes a fuss over his meal and calls the hostess a mere waitress. She doesn't react and leaves. In the cockpit, Captain Liu says that he has flown that route at least 100 times. Including when he was in the military. He says that it was a tough decision to switch from military to commercial service. He adds that he once flew a bomber. He advises the younger pilot that good grades do not make a good pilot. He says that when you think nothing can go wrong, then something will go wrong. He says that every move made in the cockpit must be precise and correct. Some minutes later, the younger pilot points out that they are in luck as things are going well. They might get to their destination ahead of time. Captain Liu adds that he will be able to attend his daughter's birthday party. At that moment, they hear a crack and look up. The plane's windshield has cracked. They contact the control tower and ask to descend to a lower altitude. They are granted permission. As they inform the control tower about the cracked windshield, the windshield completely breaks and there is turbulence. The younger pilot flies it but is held back but straps of the seatbelt and the captain who had grabbed him. The air hostesses inform the passengers to fasten their seat belts. The younger pilot is hanging out of the broken window while Captain Liu tries to hold him and prevent him from flying off the plane. The chief hostess and backup pilot hurry to the cockpit and request access but they get no response as the captain is distracted. Captain Liu then releases his hold on the younger pilot and tries to steady the plane. This sends passengers and crew members falling in different directions. The plane starts to drop and the hostesses instruct the passengers to use their oxygen masks. The control tower notices the abnormal rate of descent and attempts to make contact with the plane. The backup pilot manages to get into the cockpit and gives Captain Liu and the younger pilot oxygen masks. Back at the control tower, emergency procedures are being put in place. The Air Force is contacted and the nearest airport is directed to ground all pending flights and redirect already airborne flights in order to clear the path for Flight 3U8633. Ambulances are dispatched alongside medical personnel. The control tower asks all nearby flights to try and reach Flight 8633 but none can reach them. The in-flight service manager tries to confirm the location of the air hostesses. She calls them by their numbers and asks them to push the call buttons. She calls numbers 2 to 4 and gets their responses, but when she calls number 5, she gets no response. Number 5, Juyuan, is lying unconscious on the floor. The passengers and air hostesses try to get her attention but to no avail. She doesn't have an oxygen mask on. Finally, she regains consciousness and responds after getting and using a mask. At the control tower, they realize that the cabin lost pressure and they note that to get oxygen, the plane needs to drop to an altitude of 3,000 meters but they can't because they are above the Tibetan Plateau and its average altitude is 4,500 meters. News gets out about the ongoing state of the flight. At Captain Liu's house, his wife gets a phone call alerting her to the ongoing situation of the flight. Relatives and families of the passengers aboard the plane start to panic. The control tower sees that the closest airport is Chengdu but there is a storm cloud formation blocking it. It is too dangerous to fly over it and they can't fly into the storm either. At this moment, it is all up to the pilot. Captain Liu is flying in circles and when the passengers realize this, they start to panic. A man gets up and starts screaming and storms towards the cockpit. He shouts that he wants to see the pilot. The service manager stands and tells him that the pilot and crew of the plane have trained day after day in order to ensure everyone's safety. She tells him that his actions might jeopardize the safety of the passengers. She asks the passengers for their trust, cooperation, and confidence in the crew. She tells the passengers that the crew members too are parents, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, and assure them that they will all get home safe. The passengers quiet down and the man returns to his seat. Back at home, Captain Liu's wife assures someone on the phone that she trusts her husband and she is sure they will arrive safely. As she ends the call, her daughter enters and, oblivious to what is happening, tells her that her father gave her a puppy as a birthday present and he promised to be at her birthday party. The mother just hugs her child. In the cockpit, Captain Liu imagines he is at his daughter's birthday party. He decides to go through the storm cloud. The service manager announces to the passengers to fasten their seat belts, secure themselves and keep breathing as they are about to experience severe turbulence. At the control tower, they realize that the captain had been waiting for the cloud to split, thereby creating a passage to Chengdu. As the captain goes through the storm cloud, they experience severe turbulence and luggage starts to fall. The air hostesses urge them to remain calm and lean to the side to avoid the luggage. The plane is descending and the control tower sounds a warning that their safest low altitude is 6,300 meters. Suddenly they lose contact with the flight. They try to contact them but there is no connection. Family, friends, and relatives of the passengers pray and hope for the safe return of loved ones. Everything is quiet in the plane as everyone hopes and prays for a favorable outcome. The control tower is able to make contact with the flight once again, but the plane is flying too close to the mountains. Captain Liu thinks that he has to bring all the 119 passengers back safely. They are able to get out of the storm cloud. Flight 3U8633 tries to make contact with the Chengdu airspace as they approach. One of the pilots points out that they are overloaded and the plane is going too fast. The Chengdu approach informs Flight 8633 that they have cleared 2 runways for them. The police, medical, fire, and security personnel are informed and are asked to take their positions. The service manager instructs all hostesses to prepare for an emergency landing. The plane is spotted and is noted to be going too fast. The fire and medical unit are alerted. The service manager instructs the passengers to bend over, put their heads down and brace themselves as the plane descends. The plane's tires touch the ground, but the plane does not slow down. In the cockpit, the captain realizes that the reverse throttle is not working. One of the plane's tires burst and they are almost at the end of the runway. The 3 pilots use all of their might to pull on a lever and the plane finally stops. The pilots heave sighs of relief and there is rejoicing inside and outside of the plane. The passengers are instructed to remain calm and stay in their seats and wait for further instructions. The control tower tries to make contact with the pilots but does not get any response. They try several times and then Captain Liu informs them that they are okay. He tells them that some crew members are injured and requests for paramedics to be sent. The control tower spreads the news that the flight landed safely. Captain Liu addresses the passengers and apologizes on behalf of the crew for not getting them to their original destination. Tears of joy are shed, and prayers are made in thanksgiving. The medical team, fire, and security team all arrive to administer treatment to the injured first officer and flight attendant. As the passengers alight, Mr. Wu thanked the service manager and also thanked the air hostess he had thrown his phone at. Captain Liu uses the other pilot's words and tells him that they are in luck. They all shake hands. Nan, the service manager, thanks the hostesses for a job well done as they leave in the ambulance with the injured hostess. Captain Liu walks through the now empty aircraft. He stops and stares. Nan enters and sees him. He walks up to her and says thank you and then shakes her hand. 2 men from the management bureau enter and go to the cockpit to inspect the damage. When they see it, the senior official walks out and shakes the captain. He tells him that he was incredible and walks out. Captain Liu calls his wife and reassures her that he is okay. He tells her there was a malfunction and tells her that he will call her back later. Outside the plane, the passengers request to see the captain. They say they won't leave until they see him. Captain Liu goes out with his co-captain and Nan to apologize. When they get out, they bow to passengers who cheer and applaud them. They thank him and shake his hands. Back at home, the doorbell rings during the birthday party and when the door is opened, Captain Liu comes in and his daughter runs to him. He picks her up and hugs her. Around the world, the passengers rejoice with their relatives and loved ones. The movie ends as the crew members gather at a restaurant to celebrate. The captain walks in with a cake and says that it is his daughter's birthday, but it is also their second birthday as they are celebrating a new life on that day. What do you think is the cause of the broken windshield? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think about this movie? Share your opinion with us in the comment section below. Please subscribe and turn on the notifications for our daily uploads. See you in the next videos and thanks for your support.